Good day to everyone. Thank you for joining this session. As we get started, here are a few key points. Attendees will be on mute throughout the session. If you have any questions, please feel free to type it out on the questions tab to your left. Post the session, we will send out the recordings to all the attendees. We will have surveys and polls in the session. Please do participate in it. So let's get started. I'm Portia from Zoho, taking care of partnerships for Zoho Creator for the regions Middle East and Africa, United Kingdom, and Latin America. Let me take you through the agenda for the session today. First, we will look at property management, briefly to understand the potential scale of growth and the challenges faced in managing records manually, which in turn affects productivity. Then we will look at how, by using Zoho Creator, a low-code application development platform, help them build a system quickly and efficiently. We will also have a demo and a detailed explanation of the system built by our Zoho Creator partner, D4A Cloud ERP Solutions. We will have a brief overview of Zoho and the offerings from our end. Before I introduce our panel for today, we have a poll coming up for you, property management. As we know, real estate is one of the fastest growing verticals across the world. Property owners manage a massive volume of records, including property listing for current and forthcoming ones, buyer information, and much more details. In brief, property management is the oversight of a real estate by a third party. Property managers are generally responsible for the day-to-day operations, from screening tenants to arranging for repairs and maintenance, etc. Owners pay property managers a fee or a percentage of the rent generated by the property as for the service provided. Every state has its own laws regulating the activities of property managers. Swiftly looking at the pitfalls of managing properties manually, generally we will have tenant communication that becomes extremely complex if there is no single system that's managing all of this automatically. We will also have a lot of issues in document managing because it becomes arduous to search through unsorted folders and files. There is also this also makes financial reporting very complex, and it also is difficult to derive insightful information because in manual property management, as there is little scope of data analytics. Let's look at in detail about how D4A ERP solution built a property management system on Zoho Creator. Sharath will take on from here.
Thank you, Portia. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. And it's nice to meet you all virtually. And so I will walk you through quickly on the PMS that we have custom developed and which is successful with a few of our clients. And give me one moment. Let me first share my screen and I will be able to walk you through. Moment, please. Portia, have you given me the option to share?
Sharath, can you request again?
Moment.
Yes. Is it? You can now share the screen.
Yes, I can share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're able to view my screen. One moment, let me share again. I hope you are able to view my screen now, Portia. Confirm.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. So just to have a quick run through on what the process flow that we have developed. So I'll just give you a quick run through on a quick flow chart, a slider on how we generally handle the inquiries. So this is a quick run through of how an inquiry is initiated, and from the inquiry. So if any of you have joined from the exact property management itself, for example, any leasing manager or any contractor who has joined, who will be able to clearly understand what this process flow is. So starting from booking, how to track your move-in checklist, how to manage your procurement, how to create a contract, and how you can have the signed contracts scanned and uploaded into the system. And specifically when it comes to the property management, the very crucial area is handling the post dated checks. So how you are planning to handle the post dated checks within the system, and how it interacts with your banking. So this is the pretty much overview that we will be looking into today, and I will give a quick run through on each of these modules, a brief about that. So anyway, we also can have one-on-one sessions later on, which can happen after the webinar. We'll be happy to host that as well. So before moving on to the details, let me first go for the application dashboard. So what you see here right now is the dashboard of property management that we have developed. So as most of you might know, we are using a low-code application using Zoho Creator. We have completely customized this particular application. So meaning whatever that you see right now can be completely turned out to be a different color or a different look and feel or a different theme, which is completely easily possible with the help of Zoho Creator. So this will help you in giving out some insights about what properties that you have. For example, these are some demo properties that we have. So if I want to choose any particular property, I can just click on the name of the property. Then the entire screen will give me information related to that particular property alone. So that's with the dashboard. So as I said, the property involves a lot of stages, a lot of important aspects is required to create a contract, basically. So we have defined them into individual modules. To start with, we have the bookings, and the bookings can be segmented into two different things. First can be a single booking. For example, a direct customer who walks in, who will be able to do a booking with you directly. So it can just be a 24-hour booking or a 48-hour booking, and later on you will be able to collect advance from them, and based on the advances, then you can go ahead and create the contract. So that is with the booking. And we have bulk booking also. In many cases, most of the property management softwares does not have this option. So this is one of the pain areas which we excuse me, which we came across from a lot of our prospects and customers as well. So they weren't able to do a bulk booking. For example, an entire property, they want to let it out to a contractor. So that contractor will take care of the maintenance, or letting out individual properties, or creating contracts within these individual units. So it will be just a one-on-one contract for the entire property. So that is what we have the bulk booking for. To start with, I'll just quickly show you how a booking works. So this is the booking page. So we have the inquiry date, when it is inquired, by whom, and what the property name is, and some basic details about the client and what the requirement is. Are they looking for a single bedroom, or a commercial property, or a villa, and from which region they are inquiring, and is it a direct booking or an agent booking. So if I'm choosing agent, I'll be able to pick and choose the agent information as well. And we have various stages. For example, let's say I choose only visited right now. So this is just a record for the sales team, or for the leasing team to go ahead and do a follow-up. And maybe if the client is booked, so if I'm choosing booked, so you'll be able to see a whole new section that has popped out. So when I'm choosing it as booked, it will mandate certain things where the system will ask for more details from the client, and they will be able to give some key informations like some identifications, passport details, any basic details that is required to create the contract. For example, I'm going to fill in some of the information now. So let's say I'm taking a booking advance and I'm choosing a contract start date, let's say the 1st of November. I'll choose maybe 1 year contract till the 31st of October. And a tentative date, the client might give you a tentative occupancy date. This can vary. This is just during the time of booking. So immediately when I click on submit, okay, I have to choose the unit, of course. So the units will be filtered based on the property that I'm choosing. So I have chosen this particular property here. So only the vacant units that is associated to this property will be displayed here. So I'll just move on to booking. So this is the new property that we created right now. So from here, I will be able to generate a contract. So once when a property, once when a booking is being completed and once when it's been marked as booked, that is the only time I will be able to create a contract. A contract cannot be created directly. This is based on some validations, some experiences that we have created. Of course, it can be changed. So when I click on create contract, it's going to give me a whole new section. The good thing about it is any information that we previously updated, all those information are pre-populated. For example, the property, the unit, the contract start date and end date. So all these information are pre-populated based on our feed in the previous form. And furthermore, if I scroll down, I will be able to collect a lot more information. For an example, if you are collecting multiple deposits, I will be able to collect multiple deposits. So I can choose on which particular date this deposit has been collected. It can be a PDC. So if it's a PDC, we can just state as a pending and I'll give it a check number. And any further more details, we'll be able to add them as well. So this is with the deposit collection, and the real picture comes in place when we are entering the amount, that is the rent amount of that particular unit. So I've updated the rent amount. So this is the rent per month, and I will also have to choose. So if you look at it in the bottom, I have something called as rental information. So right now it's completely empty. So if I go back and choose my first installment date, so based on the contract date, I'm going to choose my first installment date. So if you look now, there will be a sequence of 10 additional line items have been automatically created. So everything is in pending status right now. So the pending is nothing but the PDCs that we collect. So it can be renamed as PDCs as well. And we can have different options for the free months as well. For example, if I want to go ahead and provide maybe 2 months free, the system will automatically change the contract end date. So I've just updated 2 months as free subscription. So basically what happened was previously it was 31st of November, and now it has automatically changed to 31st of December because I've updated 2 free months. And if I scroll down, in the overall line item, previously it was just 12, now it's 14. So now I can just mark maybe the first month and the last month as free. For example, I can just mark here as free, and I can mark this one as free as well. So immediately when I do this, what happens is we have direct integration with the finance application. It can be the Zoho Books Finance, or if you have any internal in-house finance application, what we will be performing is once when I hit submit, all these line items will be added as individual draft invoices in your finance application. So basically, this will be carried over into your finance module too. So from that point, you will be able to keep a track of the deposits that you have made in the bank, the status of the check. So this is the primary reason of having the list of statuses. For example, the check is on hold, or it's paid, or it's declined. So for example, let's say there can be a tenant who comes in and says, please do not deposit the check for the next 5 days. Just wait for me to fund my account. So in that case, the leasing operator or an accountant can go into either this particular application or to your finance application and update the status of the invoice. So it automatically gets updated. So nobody will deposit it till a particular date. So once when the client confirms that the cash in his bank account is ready, then they will be able to go ahead and deposit and have the funds cleared. So this is a very good functionality that we have gotten good feedback from the clients, because they were having a huge difficulty in handling the post-dated checks and the deposit statuses of each checks. So you by having this real-time information, you can stay on top of all the deposits that is happening, and any pending or any overdue or any declined information will be real time as well. So you would know which client is a defaulter, so you can follow up and make sure the payment is collected on time. The next thing is, I will add the contract. I think I'm having some background. Sorry about that. Might take a minute. So this is the basics that we covered right now. So till the contract generation. So on top of the contract generation, we also have material requisitions. We can create separate cost sheets for the material requisitions. We do have the move-in checklist with photographs that you will be able to track. For example, Zoho Creator is a mobile-friendly application, so you will be able to use it with your maintenance guys. They can walk into individual tenants, where they can go ahead and look into the property while anybody wants to vacate. For an example, we have let's say this particular contract. So we have an option to renew, so I can directly renew the contract. The option is there. So when I'm marking it as renewed, it will give me options if I want to go for a move in checklist or a move out checklist. So you can validate if all the assets that you have declared in that particular you know unit, it is properly maintained or not. If it's not properly maintained, you can either invoice the client based on the deposit that they have already given, or if the client says okay, they will go ahead and procure it and you just need the labor charges to be handled. Of course, we have the finance module. Using the finance module, you will be able to keep track of that and take care of that. So let's say I'm marking this as renew. So by default, the previous contract will be marked as renewed and the existing contract loads up. So you can go ahead and make the changes here, where you can change the contract start date, the contract end date, and the occupancy date. So it's like a whole new contract that you're generating.
Sharad, can you just go over the flowchart a little slowly? People are saying that you're going a little fast on the flowchart.
Oh, sure, no problem. So to give a heads up, a detailed view on the flowchart. So starting, the first one is the inquiry. So this is the place where we initially create the inquiry. And once when the inquiry is converted into a booking, so the customer is ready to make an advance payment. So that is when we create a booking. So we take an advance payment and we give a receipt to the client. And finally, it is added as a customer advance in your chart of accounts. So this is one particular flow. The other flow is when simultaneously, while this is happening, we have the move-in checklist. For an example, when a particular unit is being marked as booked, we immediately a notification will be sent to the maintenance team. So what this maintenance team will have to do is they'll have to get into that particular unit with a checklist that they have in their mobile application, which is again built using Zoho Creator. So they will be able to do a complete checklist. For an example, it can be a list of images that they take a photograph of, and say maybe out of 10 assets, maybe 8 assets are ready to use, maybe 2 assets needs a replacement. So in that case, if it's needing a replacement, a procurement process flow can be initiated. That is where we have the material requisitions and we have a cost sheet where we can compare between different vendors of one particular you know unit that we are procuring. For example, let's say it's an air conditioner. An air conditioner can be procured from multiple vendors. So if you have preferred vendors, of course you can buy it from your preferred vendor, or if you want to get a quotation from various people and have a comparison and then finally do an approval, that is possible. We can have a cost sheet compared and it can go through an approval, and finally once when the approval is done, a vendor PO gets generated. So basically we are generating a purchase order. So again, we will be using the the finance module of Zoho to have this incorporated. And then when the shipment is received, then we mark it as delivered in that particular unit, and only when it's marked as delivered, it will be ready to move in. So if you look at it in this particular flow, we have three different directions. So one, a move-in checklist, another one, the booking, and the next one is the documentation. That is, so these two areas, of course, booking, get it from the client, and the PDC and the documentations that you collect, it is handled with the client. And this particular area here will be completely handled using your internal team. So based on your internal team's feedback, a draft contract can be finally converted into a signed contract. So this is the communication that again we'll have to notify the client on if there are any delays in your procurement, or for example, if there is a major maintenance that is required. So those things can be clearly visible in the dashboard of the system again. So once when that is done, we have the signed copy. So if you would like to generate a contract directly from Zoho, it is possible. Or if you want to go ahead and print out the contract separately using the information that has been collected, that is possible, and you can upload the scanned copy as well. Both the ways it's possible. And once when that is done, the PDC will be tracked using Zoho Finance. That is where we will be using Zoho Books. So all the checks information, we will be tracking it here, where the statuses and the rejections, or notifying the customer through email or through SMS, it's possible. And once when the finance aspect is taken care, the next thing would be the contract renewal. So we will have an option, maybe end of the cycle, after the completion of a year, you can decide that the client has the rights to decide if he wants to renew the contract or if he wants to cancel the contract. And in the meantime, if you want to terminate the contract also, if there is any dues that the client has been pending for a very long time, for example, there can be check bounces for maybe consecutive 3 months or 4 months. So in that case, you might have a scenario where you may have to terminate a contract. So we have an option of terminating, and during termination we have, so similar to the move in checklist, we have a move out checklist as well. Very similar process flow, but this time any assets that is damaged or any maintenance that the client has to bear, so it comes as a deduction from the client. If it's a yes, then you will have to work on the timeline and who is going to bear the deductions. Is it the client or is it the company itself? And what is the expenses that is incurring for that? So by doing this, you will have a clear picture on what is your profit and loss, what is the exact expense that you are performing on each individual units, and what is the exact revenue that you have generated from there. So you can end of the year, or end of every quarter, or half yearly, you will be able to clearly find out the profit and loss ratio as well. So this is pretty much the flow. Devesh, any comments on the chat?
No, Sharath. I think I think we can go ahead. Okay, I think someone has a question. So Andrew is asking how are checks handled. Can you please elaborate?
Sure. See, checks, basically what we do is we get the details of individual check. So first, as I said, it can be a PDC or we can mark it as pending. So we have the check date, and effective rent is something when you are giving 3 months, the system will auto calculate all these details, and then we input the check number and the bank details. So basically all this information will be reflecting into Zoho Books. So we are using Zoho Books. So all this information will be reflecting in Zoho Books, and individual invoices will be created. That is 13 different or 12 different invoices will be created with the check dates. So basically it will be post dated invoices and the check details as well. So that's how we are tracking the checks.
Great. We have more questions. So next question from Hisham is, how do you link the financial accounting with your app?
See, we have since we are using Zoho Books, so both are Zoho platform. So right now we have custom developed this property management using Zoho Creator, and Zoho Books is also Zoho's application. So we have successfully integrated with Zoho Books. But if you are talking about any third party, we will have to check the feasibility. So this is where all the invoices will be tracked. So all the customers will be, any tenants that you add, all the tenants will be added as customers, and all the PDCs will be tracked as invoices here.
Great. I think that answers that question. We have another question. Is this flow for only residential leasing, or can you use it for commercial and retail leasing as well?
Absolutely. So that's where we have the bulk booking option. So if we are doing a bulk booking, the system is going to ask me about what the property is. And while we are declaring the master data, so we can declare certain user units for bulk bookings availability. So if we are declaring, okay, let's assume one property, the entire property can be rented out for commercial purposes or maybe for bulk booking purposes. In that case, it will be listed down here, and we have the flexibility of choosing multiple units as well.
Great. Another question. How is revenue recognition handled?
Revenue recognition, this is where we have the effective rent. So if I go back to the contract, so here I've given a couple of months free. So based on this, the system has given me two things. One is an effective rent. So what the system exactly did was it calculated 14 months with the overall amount. That is, this is the exact check amount, but still this is not the exact revenue. Of course, you'll have to divide this into 14 months because the contract is for 14 months. So this is where this effective rent comes in place. So that's how we calculate the revenue against the the expenses that has been done on individual property.
Great. I think we have one last question from Ajay. How is the user management taken care of? Like, do all users need to have a creator license?
Yes. In general, that is how it works. Because any user who's logged in will have to be considered as a user. So if he's a contract generator or leasing agent or a supervisor, anybody. But other than that, Zoho Creator has the flexibility of having portal users. So portal users, basically, we recommend to give it to the clients. So maybe if you want to share any maintenance details, any facility related details or asset related details to the clients, yes, of course, we can use portal user licenses. But in general, yes, it would be an individual user license subscription.
Great. We have one more question. Are the invoices sent to tenants on a monthly basis? I think they're trying to understand, are they automated or not?
That is correct. Yes, it is automated. If you want this to be sent out on a monthly basis, maybe as a reminder to the client, yes, it's possible. Or if you just want to keep it to yourself only for the internal, yes, we can. Both the ways, it's possible.
Great. Do we have any other questions? If yes, feel free to add them in the chat box or the questions tab. Portia, can you take over the last section? One second, I think I have another question. Are the service requests for complaints and repairs integrated with this module?
That is correct. We also have facility management. So using facility management, you will be able to keep a track of your service request, and all the service requests are associated with individual assets as well. For example, when I'm choosing the unit name, I mean the property name and the unit name, it will automatically display me the list of units that is associated to that particular property. So all the assets that is having any maintenance request can be tracked here, and any replacement that you are doing can also be followed up.
Great. Do we have any other questions? Let's wait for like 10 to 15 seconds before moving ahead.
Sure, Dinesh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another question. Can you also add things like water, electricity, surcharges with defer every month?
While we are adding a unit, we have an option of including the details. For example, the electricity number or the water number. Based on this, we can have a consumption information calculated. Right now, in this particular instance, I couldn't show that, but we have done that for a client. So month on month, they are calculating. So this is where their expenses comes in place, and this is where the finance module also comes in place. So if you are going to make your clients process the payment, then I don't think you have to invoice them for anything. But if you are bearing the cost on behalf of your client, then it will be added on to your expenses, so you can calculate the overall profit with the expenses. So basically, it's possible. Yes.
Got it. Let's wait for another 10 seconds and then move on if there's no questions.
So Zoho is a software company that has been at the forefront of cloud software for more than a decade now. From large corporations to single person companies, over 250,000 businesses and tens of millions of people around the world rely on Zoho to get work done. There are a few mm, philosophies that we stick to. We approach our long term thinking and our deep engineering focus and customer centric policies as our pillars of strength. We are also very focused on the privacy of our consumers. Like you can see, Zoho is completely bootstrapped and profitable. It's privately held and publicly responsible with over 25 years of experience in the industry. We have over 50 plus applications and presence in about 190 plus countries. We currently have around 60 million users and 10,000 employees and a very well connected ecosystem of Zoho suite of products. Quickly moving on to see our global footprint. This is a global footprint with offices in over 12 locations and data centers in over 10 locations across the globe. You could see the details here on the map. Moving on, here are a few key values that we abide by. We are private and profitable. We value our long-term view over any short-term benefits or offers. We have been and will always be uncompromising on customers' privacy. Finally, the result of a strong core value is incredible technologies at unbelievable prices. So, this brings us to the end of our session. So, if you have further more questions, like Divesh mentioned, you could put it out in the chat box or on the questions tab.
Yeah, Portia, we do have questions. So Sharad, this is for you. The first question is, does the system only use passport number of or the ID documents as well?
It depends,
Yeah.
case to case. Thank you, Dev, and thank you for the question. So it depends case to case. If your company wants to store the client information, like as a scanned copy as well, yes, we can have the scanned copy. So we have field level encryptions that is available in Zoho. So we will be able to use that, and we can with regards to the the privacy standards that is with the market standard level. It is possible, and we can make sure it's not displayed to lower level employees as well.
Great. Another question. So, do you have an interface that we can show to the prospective tenants? Like basically, if they want to have a virtual tour of the home.
If you have, see, it's quite difficult to create something like that using Creator. Maybe Div and Portia could throw some light on that for me. But in general, if you ask me, it's better to create like a video and then put it into the system, and we can design a beautiful page and have that page available for the tenants to view. So it's possible to give a tenant access view, but I would suggest to create the video outside of the system and then put it in there.
Great. Do we have any other questions? We'll wait for a few more seconds and then go ahead.
Isham, I think I got your question about SDK and Lowcode. See, basically, this is custom developed using Zoho Creator application. So I don't really think SDK is a complete different ball game altogether. So using SDK, you are able to access the core of the system, but using this application, you can download that and customize it furthermore if you would like.
Right, I don't think we have any more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining and for being such a wonderful audience. We will share the recording of this session. And for those who've opted for a consulting session with D4A and Zoho Creator, we will be reaching out to you as well. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Sharath and Devesh. It's such an amazing session.